now, if somebody was going to kill your daughter, what would you do? So he got up, didn't change his expression at all, walked towards me. He said, stand up. I didn't know if he was going to cut off my head. He kissed me.
You got kissed by Pablo Escobar?
Yeah.
Wait, so after you popped him, he was still standing?
I popped him. It spin around a while. So now he's like this, the blood's coming down his neck. It's 5 shot. I put the other 3 in his heart, and that was the end of him. I didn't even rationalize that till later on in life. I took this rat out of here. And anybody I killed after, they were all rats. Pablo Escobar's guys was a drug dealer. I justify you. What's your profession? Oh, good, I'll kill you.
That's all it takes. This episode is out of control. The stories that I just heard from Gianni Russo, who's well known from his role as Carlo in the 1972 film The Godfather. You may have heard of it. Stories that include JFK, Marilyn Monroe, Pablo Escobar, his encounters with all of them, the reasons why JFK and Marilyn Monroe were killed, and a couple people he's killed throughout his lifetime for self-defense. He also spent a lot of time in the ward during Polio, where he nearly lost his life, and what it was like seeing thousands of young kids die during that experience many years ago. This episode could have been 24 hours, and I'm still not sure if I would have got all the stories from him. He told me on a phone call prior to this recording that he's fascinated with this discussion primarily because he's faced death many times in his life, from almost losing his life and taking some other. He's been around death his entire life, and the stories that he shares will show you just that. I hope you enjoyed this episode like I have. It was such a fun ride. This man is a real G, and I was happy to spend some time with him. Please check out the show link for information more on his podcast and what he's got going on. Thank you, as usual, for everyone that's joining the show. If you want to get episodes like this ad-free, click our Patreon, join the show, support the show, yada, yada, yada. I'll stop talking. Let's get into it. When I talked to you on the phone, you hit me with something I know you spoke about. We might as well get the ball rolling when it comes to death, which I know you have stories about. But you mentioned you confronted it and you took someone's life for self-defense. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I did that. I've been tried on 3 murders, they're all self-defense.
Okay.
I've learned. Well, Pablo Escobar, the guy, slit my throat, 81 stitches. See that?
Wait, what happened there?
In my club in Las Vegas, October 28, 1988. A guy comes in my club. Steve Sharippa from Blue Bloods and Sopranos was my doorman.
No shit.
He was going to UNLV, University of Nevada, and I used to have a lot of those kids. Andrew Agassi, all those kids were in school. So I knew them. They all came. And they worked at the door. And State Street was an interesting place. Sinatra, Sammy Davis, and Dean Martin opened it for me for 3 days, no pay. No pay. And you know me, I got on the phones with all the taxi cab people and say, you won't believe who's on stage at this new place. But then I expanded that, made it 14,000 square feet, thanks to Steve Wynn. And this guy came in. I had the place for 10 years. I opened in 1980. Guy come in, which we always, my idea was to serve gourmet food till 6 in the morning, because all the hotels, because of the being union, the only thing you could eat after a 12 o'clock show was go to a coffee shop. So I opened a gourmet room to serving food, white glove service, tableside, till 6 in the morning. So they used to send everybody to me. Then I put a casino in. Forget about it. I was stealing $5,000 a day from myself. If you get $5,000 a day, 365 days a year is a lot of money.
Oh, man. Especially in that time,
oh
even
my
more.
God, it was crazy. That's one thing I learned, how to make money early. So this guy comes in, and I see him. I'm up on perch. I had like 4 different dining rooms and a casino. I mean, I used to sit like when people came in, a holding area, a piano bar. And this guy come in, we've seen it 100 times, even got $100 bills or black chips to people, because they just made a score. So I called the front door. I said, Steve, who's the guy? He said, I don't know. I says, where'd he come from? He says, Caesar's Palace. I said, how's he rated? They said, he's picking up this check. In fact, they want us to use our car to bring him over and then bring the check into the cage, which I loved, because then they'd give me the cash, I put it in my pocket. So we hit him up right away. He was there 10 minutes. I sent him a bottle of Cristal, bottle of Louis XIII. His check was $1,800. He didn't get in the door yet.
Good God.
Next thing he does, he breaks the Cristal bottle and he stabs his girlfriend with it right in the face.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wait, what did I miss here? What triggered that?
They had some kind of an argument. I wasn't watching them. We hear the crashing in the bottle, and he stabs her right in the face. Thank God he missed a eye. So I called Steve. I said, get over there with some people. He said, I ain't going over there. I said, what do you think I hired you for? You big schmuck.
Oh, my God.
No, so I go over there, And her face was covered already with
Poor girl.
napkin, but she was bleeding. I said, let me introduce myself. I said, I'm Gianni Russo. This is my club. Now, you hear those sirens? They're coming for you. So why don't you go out the back door? I don't know who you're with, or I don't want any problems. I had all kinds of guys in there. He says, no, man. I said, no, man. Where the hell are you from? He said, you don't want to know. I didn't know he had the bottle yet. So he made a motion like he was going for her. He swings around to get me.
Oh, man.
Fortunately, I'm agile enough. I go back, and he cuts me here. My chin is hanging. So now I'm saying, wait a minute. I always carry. I'm licensed in 46 states.
Okay.
So I figured I got to defuse the guy. I said, look what you did to my shirt. Are you crazy? I waited 6 months for this shirt. And the guy must be saying to himself, what the hell this guy took about his shirt for? He's bleeding. I just wanted to get my hand on my gun. Because I used to wear, at that time I was wearing Ralph Lauren, those straight buttons. Yeah. And I had a vest with two 5-shot Derringers in there. So as soon as I got diverted, I put the gun right to his head. I said, now, either you walk out the door now, you're going out in a black bag. He's F you. I said, really? I put 2 right in his head in front of 150 people.
Holy
my room was jammed. But guess what happens? He goes like this, like a mosquito hit him. He was so high on coke. That's why you got to shoot him right behind the ear, close him down right away.
Wait, so after you popped him, he was still standing?
I popped him. It spin around a while. See, if you shoot him here, that's why they're always, it's here you want him. Goes down, he's never coming out. So now he's like this, the blood's coming down his neck. And it was 5-shot. I put the other 3 in his heart, and that was the end of him. So now I go to the hospital. Coots comes in. I'm wrapped up with, ice and all that. And unfortunately, State Street was only 3 blocks from the Paradise Road where the hospital was. So Coots, they all come in because I'm so much friend with even New York, the cops. I love cops. They come in and he's come with me. I'll take you to the hospital. He said, what happened? I said, da. He said, he stabbed the girl first. Then you shot him. I said, yep. And then he called in. Get anybody that saw her and take their name down. I walked out in 30 days. Big problem was, it's Pablo Escobar's right-hand man.
Marion Joseph. And you found that out later, obviously. You had no idea this guy was connected like that?
I didn't know. I was in the hospital. I got Murray Parks to fly in because I'm such a vain guy. I wasn't going to have some guy zip me up. My chin will be like this. Forget about it.
It's a good chin. You don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, so I got Murray Parks, a good friend of mine, top plastic surgeon. He flew in. Dr. Elias Ghanem, Elvis's doctor, sent his plane for him because they were all my customers. So he says to me, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, what's the good news? He says, the guy's dead. I said, oh, that's good. He said, well, it isn't. I said, why? He's Pablo Escobar's right-hand man, Lorenzo Morales. So now 2 days I'm in the hospital. I come home, and I live on Las Vegas Country Club, guards everywhere. I go into my house, like here, there's a whole Santeria on my rug.
Oh.
With my kids, with salamander and blood. So I said, what the hell's this? They call the girl from UNLV to tell me about the Santeria stuff. He says, well, you're marked for death, but they're going to kill you last. They'll kill your pets, your relatives, your kids. So now I call Noriega up right away. I'm good friends with him, 2 other people. And he just left Panama. He was in the Dominican Republic. I didn't get him. So I called Gotti because I knew Gotti was dealing with him. And then Gotti hated me. So I said, I'm on a plane. I'm coming in. I got to talk to you. He said, oh, now you're a killer. It's all over the nose. I said, I'll talk to you when I get there. So I go to the Ravenite, which I've been 100 times. Before he got in, Carlo Gambino and I were like this. So I get in there and he tells me the whole story. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I want to go see him. Did you want to go see Pablo Escobar? I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to buy you the ticket. He bought me a one-way ticket to Colombia. The good news, I'm at Kennedy Airport. I'm getting paged. I'm going my way. Noriega. He said, what'd you call me for? I said, it's all over the news. I said, yeah. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Bogota. He said, are you crazy? I said, I am crazy, but I'm going to have him kill my kids.
Right.
So I went. He arranged it. When I got there, somebody picked me up. They took me to a church. There was nobody in the church. I see a guy on the right-hand side up in front of candles. As I'm walking towards him, as I'm walking down the aisle, the pews are creaking. Guys are sitting up. The whole place was with his men.
And you're by yourself.
I'm by myself.
Jesus.
So I walked to the altar where he was, and he's burning his fingertips on candles. I could smell the flesh. I'm saying, what kind of penance is this? What'd this guy do wrong?
I haven't read that part in the Bible.
And then I didn't realize it was Pablo Escobar. Well, who knows what he did? So all I remember is he's, you're Gianni Russo? I said, yeah, that was it. I woke up in the prison he just built. Remember he built that prison in Colombia?
Yes.
That was his deal. I'll build a prison, I'll be there, and I'm locked up. And they were okay with that. I'm 3 stories down, body bags all over me, around me, the stench of the death, everything you can imagine. And I'm being tortured.
Wait, so you're in the bottom of that prison that he built?
Yeah.
Okay, so at that point when you saw him, just to clear it up, that deal was just settled and he was about to be transported into the prison. Is that correct?
I went to the church. He just wanted to make sure it was me.
Okay.
Somebody hit me from behind. I wake up, I don't know if it was a day or two, I don't know anything. I'm shackled to a chair. There's body bags all around me. And then all of a sudden I hear a voice, and he's not in army fatigues, he's all dressed. And he had a book in his hand. And I'm looking, I'm saying, am I hallucinating? Who is this? And he said, why don't you tell me you were Carlo in The Godfather? That's my favorite movie.
Tell me that got you out.
Do you know how many times that happened? No. Saddam Hussein, everybody. They loved that movie.
And that saved
That's
your
how
ass?
I even met Putin. He loved the movie.
God.
No, but that movie saved my life 100 times. That was it.
Kidding? And they let you go.
No. You just bring them up. They get me a doctor, and gave me, maybe a couple hours later, they brought clothes to me. I had to meet him in his dining room. He's sitting like where the door is. I'm on one end, and you got guys all around. He said, let me ask you a question. Why would you come here? Are you crazy? I see, I've been insane a long time. So he's like, we're talking. He loved all my answers. I said, the only reason I came here, I did my homework. You have a daughter, Gina. I have a daughter, Gia. I said, now, if somebody was going to kill your daughter, what would you do? So he got up, didn't change his expression at all, walked towards me. He said, stand up. I didn't know if he was going to cut off my head. He kissed me.
You got kissed by Pablo Escobar.
Yeah. He says, there's very few people like us. I'll straighten this out. So now, we're eating dinner, we're talking like I'm his friend. He says, am I ready to go? I'm ready. You got a room for me. He says, you'll leave tomorrow. He said, before you go, I want you to do me a favor. I said, oh, what's this going to be? He says, remember the part in The Godfather? I said, which part? He's when Michael confronts you, you got to answer for Santini. I said, yeah. He said, let's do that scene. And my head started spinning. I said, you want me to write down the lines? He said, no, I know the lines. You sit here, and I'll go to the door like Michael did when he came in. And he does the whole scene with me.
What is going on?
That's what I'm saying.
What the hell is
I
happening?
figured this is the way he's going to get rid of me. He walked me to the car, put me in the car, and we did the whole thing. Gave me the airline ticket for tomorrow, all that's it. We get to the door, and we don't go outside. And he says, go ahead, they'll take you to the airport tomorrow. He kisses me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, did you even have any inkling that you were getting out of there alive?
No.
You thought you were dead?
I've been shot, stabbed, run over. I can't believe I'm sitting here today. I'm 82 years old. How'd this happen?
I mean, that was just one story. We just started the podcast. I'm already, my head's spinning.
Yeah.
So what is that? So if this was in the 80s, right? Early 80s?
88.
And so that clearly, after what you just said, that wasn't your first brush with death.
No.
So at that point, because I want to hear some of the earlier stories, because I'm just curious about the mentality of facing death like that.
Well, the mentality, see, that's why when you told me what your format is, most people don't know. In August 7th, 1949, I was like 6.5 years of age. I was put in Bellevue. In fact, on the car ride down here, every time I'm on the East Side Drive, the original building that I went into is still there. They built all that new, like 2 or 3 more blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But Bellevue Hospital was turned into a polio ward. I went to a clinic because I couldn't get out of bed, and my mother snuck me to a clinic downtown on Mulberry Street. And the next day, they come and took me from my house. I didn't know what was going on. I was 6.5 years old. I was going to church every day with my grandmother. I was becoming an altar boy. I was, but I got to that hospital. Talk about death. In the 5 years I was there, 2,300 kids died.
Jesus, that's from 6 to 11, 6 to 12, and you're seeing this death.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a hell of a start of your life to even, besides the fact that your illness is affecting you, you're just surrounded by death. So at that point, do you remember even having any faith that you were going to get out of there?
Well, that's all I thought about because, like, even the one kid I remember, Robbie Martucci, a nice kid, the end of his bed and my bed were like across the aisle. There was only 20 beds in that ward. There was a lot of wards. We had nothing respiratory. We weren't in an iron lung like Roosevelt's daughter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole problem was my left side of my body, which nobody will ever know the difference because I wear 2 different size shoes, 2 different size gloves. But my left side still dwarfed to my right side, which became an asset to me later on, too, we'll talk about. So I started becoming friends with kids because you're there in bed. No television, no radio, nothing. I got my radio, which is a great story, from Carlo Gambino for my 7th birthday.
Okay, so at that point in your life, you're already connected to all these people.
I didn't know why.
Oh.
See, I knew nothing about my family. Who did? I don't know, my uncles. I used to call Carlo Gambino my uncle all the time. He really wasn't my uncle. But I found out later, my uncle, who's now his son, is still the boss. I just left Palermo. I go to Sicily 3 times a year now. But the Russos, the guy who sent most of them here, his name is Giuseppe Genco Russo. And in the 40s, they were hanging people because they wanted to end the Cosa Nostra over there. Mm. And they hung a couple of my relatives and left them hanging in the street to send a message in Palermo till they were rotted. I didn't know. These people sent Carlo Gambino to America when he was 17 years of age as a made guy already.
At 17.
At 17? Well, over there, 16, 17, either you are or you're not. Mm-hmm. They sent him here to clean up the Maderanos who came here and were shaking down the Italian immigrants, getting protection from them. So that's how the 5 families started.
Incredible.
He came here. He sent Costello's family here, and Costello found me on the street selling ballpoint pens. I went to work for him when I was 13 until he died. He died in 73.
So when we're going to keep going back. I want to go back to the story with where you were in the war with polio. But at 13, were you mafia adjacent in a sense, or were you working for the mafia, as you just said?
I was working. Well, by 13, I'm working for Costello.
Okay.
Who's now they call him the prime minister. He left the Genovese family. Him and Maya Lansky created the syndicate. Mm. Oh, man. And, that was it for me. I met Maya when I was 15. I'm around these guys all my life. But I have every license in the world. I got a liquor license, even in China. I got gun permits. I got machine gun permits.
I don't even know you can get machine gun permits. I live in California. That's a whole other story.
Well, you have to, that's federal license to have an automatic weapon.
Got it.
I got Thompson machine guns.
So we'll go back to the war. What happened there? So you got sent, Gambino sent you something when you were 7?
And what happened, Dolores Barone, his niece, was my floor nurse. And this girl would get me the extra Jell-O, the extra pudding. Mm. I was just turning 7 years old, December 12th. So he sends me a transistor radio the night before because I was depressed and she must have told him. Because I didn't know how interested he was in me because of my family. That was old school respect, you know. So with this, she brings me a radio the night before. And she said, my uncle sent you this radio. I said, that's very nice of him. He said to tell you it fell off the truck. I didn't know what he meant. You know, I'm a kid in bed. But that morning, I turned the radio on, December 12th. And up until that time, I only listened to Enrico Caruso, you know, all those guys, because my grandmother came from the same town in Naples that Enrico came. Now I'm listening to Sinatra. I didn't know who Sinatra was. That was his birthday that day, December 12th.
Okay.
So now I'm hearing about this guy from humble beginnings. His mother was a barmaid. His father worked Todd Shipyard. He inspired me because the guy's doing 5 shows a day. He was 10 blocks away. He was on Broadway. I'm on 31st Street.
Incredible.
And he became my mentor. I was his friend for 49 years.
So you actually got connected with Sinatra just after hearing it.
He not only that, he baptized my son Luciano. We traveled the world together. Him and I became friends with Grace Kelly long before anybody because she was in the Copra all the time. And she was friends, you know, she was becoming an actress and she lived at the Barbizon. So I used to go at night to pick up flowers for the table. I didn't know I was going to get flowers. All these young girls wanted to come because of Walter Winchell. They were inspiring actresses. So I met her. Then she met Prince Rainier. I got invited to the wedding. Then I was going to Red Cross Ball every year. I used to go with Sinatra. He said, how do you know all these people?
That's what I was wondering. Now, I mean, now it's all piecing it together. So, but even before Sinatra, I guess that was your first introduction to him. What was the rest of your life from 7 to 11 in the Polio ward?
Nothing. I mean, fortunately, I did research. I'm doing a show right now. I'm on the road with it. It's called Gianni Russo Experience. And my research has found a picture of me in a full body cast that they put me in when I first got to Bellevue because I had no power in my left side at all. So they thought somebody came up with this idea, restrain him and build his elasticity muscles. So that's what I had a problem with, not respiratory. During that time, I became the poster boy for the March of Dimes.
These dots are just connecting. What the heck?
I know. And I found that out. I found that out 2 years ago when we did research on my book to find pictures. And now you can find anything. Today you put it in, it comes up. There I am. I was the poster boy for the March of Dimes. Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Eddie Cantor started the March of Dimes for polio research. That's why, part of American history, Roosevelt's on the dime.
I had no idea.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And my life's like a history lesson indirectly.
And directly at the same time.
Yeah, no. So all of that, then, you know, polio vaccine came. Next 4 or 5 years, I'm taking it. I'm rehabilitating. And during that is when I do my first kill.
Okay, now we're moving. Okay, before you tell me about the first kill, I'm just curious because my initial thought process was you had that experience in the 80s, you know, killing Pablo Escobar's guy, and then I asked you facing death, and now you're facing death at 6, 7 years old. So that clearly was the beginning of really experiencing death.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember it contemplating that at that age? Like, did you even understand what death was and facing it? And
Well,
that shaping your life?
you know, I remember vividly. I made friends with this kid, Robbie Montucci. And when his bed was like over there where that chair is. The next time I come, you know, I wake up, they're sterilizing his bed.
Oh, no.
So I said to Dolores, where's Robbie? He said, well, he went to heaven. You know how many times I heard he went to heaven, she went to heaven, he went to heaven. And I'm praying every day. I had my patron saint was St. Anthony. My grandmother gave me a patron little saint, and I kept it in my hand. They even sterilized it so I could bring it into the hospital. It looked like a piece of melted plastic because the acid in my hand, but I knew what it was. And I'm saying, why is God, you know, me being a Catholic, I'm saying, why is God doing this to me? I didn't do nothing. What could I do wrong at 7, 8 years old? I did nothing. So that was it. Now I'm getting stronger, and my right side, like, oh, I ain't today still. And I'm dragging myself around. They wouldn't give you the bedpan anymore. They were encouraging you to get out of bed. I'm part of the experiment with Jonas Salt's, which is the salt vaccine that we all take today. And dragging myself around, one day, I don't even know why this happened. I slither out of bed, crawl along the floor, get on the rail, and go to the bathroom. Now, I'm in no hurry because I'm going to go back to the bed. There's no television. I had the radio, the only radio I could put to my ear every day for a couple hours. I couldn't bother anybody. There was a porter's broom blocking my way. In the theater, those little brooms.
Right.
So with my right arm, I put it under my left, and I dragged myself to the bathroom. So when I got there, I always went to the same stall. I couldn't stand at a urinal because I was crippled. I always went to stall 4, was in the middle of the bathroom with the most illumination, because at nighttime it was dark, and I was afraid as a kid. I break the bristles of the broom off. I don't know, again, don't ask me why I did it. Threw it in the trash, covered it, waited for somebody to come out of 4, and we only had a drape for privacy, build a drape, because they need to get access to you. But the radiators were hung on the wall horizontally. So every day I'd put my stick under the radiator. So I always went there. I knew I had the stick. Again, I'll tell you stories repeatedly. How I got weapons, I don't know where they came from. But anyway, so Dolores says to me, there's a new guy, a therapist, Harold Gardner. Don't ever be alone with him.
Oh, man.
I said, well, I didn't know about pedophiles.
That's a weird thing to say, but now I see.
Yeah. She's just, don't be alone with him. I said, okay, what do I know? I'm not even 12 yet. Sure enough, one night this guy comes. And I knew somebody was in the bathroom here, and the next I see the 2 white shoes under the curtain. And he said, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm all right. He said, you need any help? I said, no, I'm okay. And I put my right hand up, which is strong enough to hold the curtain. But then the tug of war, he gets in, and he starts unbuttoning his pants.
Oh, good.
And he takes his kumazigam out, and he's telling me it's candy. I was going to say, I'm a diabetic.
Every time I was raised with my mother saying my kumisikiyama. Just so I have that correct. Isn't kumisikiyama like whatchamacallit? Like
his penis.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I want to be.
Well, that I know. And then that
no,
context.
I didn't want to,
Yeah. Glad that much I knew.
Politically incorrect on your show.
It's all good. Say what you want here. Open doors.
So now he's concentrating, getting my mouth on it. He don't know I got the stick. So I reached down, because it was laying there. When I got it, I always take it and put it near the toilet. Again, I don't know why. So why do I carry 2 guns and a cane? I don't know why.
Yeah, this is at 12 years old. Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
So now he's concentrating on doing what he's doing. I have some strength in my arm. I just raised my arm up to guide the stick. And I put the stick here, but now I'm sitting in the toilet. I hit him under his rib cage, went right through his heart.
Oh, my Lanta.
No, it was like sharp pencil. Went right through his heart. He's running around the bathroom, spraying. And then all of a sudden, Dolores Barone comes in, throws a blanket over me, and takes me out. I keep hearing him screaming. Next thing you know, it gets worse.
Yeah, really? It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
I'm ready for this? They come down with a gurney, strap me on that, and take me to the psych ward.
Take you to the psych ward?
Takes me to the psych ward. Now, it's still there, which I'm glad. I go down. Sometimes I walk down to 31st Street. I live on 61st. I walk. That's part of my walk. I just stand on that corner to make myself remember. But I want that building because the 7th floor, finally got the window bed after people dying. Dolores got me to bed because I wanted to look out. I couldn't see nothing. And the one thing I remember, the first building I ever saw, tall building, was the Empire State Building. It's ironic because now you go down there, here we're talking about 70-something years later. From that corner window, I could still see the Empire State Building. The whole city's skyline changed. It's still a viewpoint from that.
No shit.
Which is it's an omen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So now they put me in observation. And just so your audience doesn't know this, the 7th floor above it, there's 2 floors. It's like a funnel. I don't care if you're male, female, kid, old. Everybody in that floor is nude. So if you have to relieve yourself, you just did. Every couple hours, they come and hose you down like a fucking... And if you weren't nuts, after 72 hours in there, you would be.
Yeah, telling me.
Then they brought me down, and Dolores said, they're going to let you go. I said, really? I couldn't wait to get out of there. So she had to buy me clothes, and she let the floor nurses think she was taking me to my parents. Put me in a wheelchair, got the release papers. She wheels me to the curb, and she tells the cab driver, take him to 247 Mulberry Street. So I knew I was going to the neighborhood. We get to the neighborhood. Now, I lived above the Luna. So we got to the neighborhood. They made a right and went down to the Ravenite. On the sidewalk is Carlo Gambino, Della Croco, Joe LaFord, major guys. I get out of the cab, they're hugging and kissing me. I was saying, what the heck's this? I was like a war hero coming home. Dolores told them I killed this guy.
And then you got your stripes?
Huh?
And like you got your stripes from doing that?
At 12.
Oh my God.
And I'm saying now, years later, the FBI, and even in my show, I found all these pictures. I have the pictures of the Ravenite in 1949 before they remodeled it. That's why the show has gotten great. I mean, reviews. It's 80 minutes, but and I have all the footage.
How is this real? This seems like literally like you can't even write a script better than this.
No.
Well, I got to ask you because the same story. So you killed this guy at 12 years old, and there's a million questions I have about just having that in you to do it at that. You know, like some people just shrivel up and at 12 years old, you're a young kid. But what was that process of going from after you just did that to that man to getting the praise? Was there a transition there of feeling guilt or like you felt chill about it, and then you got the praise? What was that like?
No, I thought that I would feel guilty and whatever. I felt power for the first time.
Especially that schmuck.
Hello.
You know? Like that's...
And I didn't even rationalize that till later on in life. I took this rat out of here. And anybody I killed after, they were all rats. Pablo Escobar's guys was a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. I justify you. What's your profession? Oh, good, I'll kill you.
That's all it takes. That's out of control. So what does your life go from there? At 12 years old, now you're getting this praise. You already took a life, and then how the hell do you see the rest of the world after that?
Well, no, I mean, my grandfather finally came to see because he knew I was coming, and we took a walk after all. About an hour. I stayed down there. And I said, does Funzawaz still have the bakery on Mott Street? He says, yeah. Said, can we go over there? I get over there. The same thing. All the people come out. They're hugging me, kissing me. You think I just came back from Vietnam?
Unreal.
So I said, I need a job. He said, come here 8 o'clock. And I used to go to my grandmother to get the bread at night. 10 o'clock, the bread came out. We went to get the hot bread all the time. So I was mixing 50-pound bags of flour by hand because I wanted to build my body up. And again, subconsciously, I didn't know about coal stoves and flour. There was no humidity in the air. I slept there. When I was done, I used to go to the storeroom and sleep on my flour bags and then get up and do what I had to do the rest of the day. But all of that, I mean, that guy upstairs had a vision.
That's a good thing you brought up there, because earlier in that story, when you lost that other child, the friend across from you that was in that bed, and then people were telling you, they went to heaven. How many times you hear that? And you asked the question, how could God do something like this? How do you resolve that?
I never did. In fact, I've been friends with 3 popes. In fact, John Paul gave me this.
Madon.
Who's now a saint. He's now a saint. My grandkids go to a school in Puglia. 2 years ago, there was an earthquake. So my grandson calls me. He said, Papi, we're raising money for the school. I said, okay. I said, tell the Monsignor, how much is it? He told me. I said, tell him you're going to give him the money tomorrow. He said, what? I said, you just tell him that. Tell him to call me. He has my number. So now my son, who doesn't talk to me at all, because I have 10 sons raised by 10 different women. So I have 10 only sons. Now, you know they all hate me. They're all living in my house, all going to school, driving my cars. That's okay. But I wasn't the father they wanted. Hey, get out of here. But anyway.
Yeah.
So now my son calls me. What are you telling my son he's giving up? I said, he is. He don't have that kind of money. I said, you don't know nothing about your son. He said, what are you talking about? I said, there's a trust from him at the Vatican. Because I gave my grandchildren, not my son, my grandchildren, I opened trust for. I was working for the Vatican. I don't know if you read my book, but I did like 600 million with the Vatican in 8 years. Nick Nitti, Frank Nitti's son, we were skimming money, and they were laundering it. The Vatican was laundering the money out of Vegas.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole we're going to have to go down.
Hello.
Atlanta.
But anyway, that's what it was about. And then, we built the school. This story you'll love, and your audience will love. The school gets rebuilt a couple of months later, and the nun is walking my 2 grandsons through doing a visit, watching the new part of the building. So they go to Monsignor's office. Oh, that was a funny story, because he called me. He said, what's the catch? I said, what catch? He said, you're going to give me the money. I know you always have a catch. I said, hold on. I want to change the name of the school. He said, we're not changing the school's name to Gianni Russo. I said, no. Because now John Paul is a saint. Who knows a saint? I know a freaking saint. If you go in my book, you got pictures of me and the saint.
That's a question I never thought of. Who the hell knows a saint?
No, my grandkids think that's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, so now they're taking a tour. In the Monsignor's office, there's a picture of the Monsignor, the Pope, and I. So my little grandkids said, oh, that's Papa. She said, that's everybody's Papa. He said, no. My Papa is with the Pope.
Like, my Papa is with the Pope.
Hello, I have the picture up. I have the picture of my house. You come to my house, I got all kinds of pictures of 3 popes I knew. Because we were dealing with Bishop Marcinkus, which is no secret anymore. Coppola put it in the movie. But they were laundering all the money. Marcinkus was out of Chicago. With Chicago, people don't notice.
I didn't know that.
The only branch of Banca de Roma is in Chicago. Why?
I wonder.
Hello.
I don't think there's much of a question with that. So this is not even a direction I was even going to go. The Vatican was laundering money.
They did that for a lot of people.
Is that you think that's still going on?
I don't think so no more.
Is it straightened out a little bit?
I don't know what he's doing. This guy. Well, I'm in the Solidarity. I'm one of the members of the Solidarity. It's one of the hardest clubs in the world to get into. Most people don't even want to be in it.
Yeah, what goes on in that club?
It's like 7 stories below the Vatican.
Below
it.
Okay, so I've heard about some stuff going on below that. What's going on below? Can you talk about that?
Forget about it. You won't believe what's down there.
I want to know.
It's like 800 years old. The treasures down there, everything's amazing.
Yeah, I've only been on I've been on the surface level.
Hello. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy a little bit.
What do I know?
I think you know a lot.
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
I think you know a lot. I guess that's stuff. This is going to be a hard transition, just because we need a 4-day podcast, and that's still probably not even enough to hear all your stories. I know you spoke about JFK a little bit, correct?
Yeah.
So someone sent me. I think it was Ken, my mom's partner, sent me something about some guy. I forget his name, but he admitted to being one of the shooters at JFK. I don't know the guy's name. Does that ring a bell about one guy admitting he was one of the shooters?
Well, there was only 2 guys alive, and they was about to bring the one guy that I know personally, because he was with Chicago. See, most people don't know the story. When Joe Kennedy went to Frank Costello while his son was the senator to become president, he said, I need all your friends to back my son. All the unions, all the mob, because he realized a Catholic president ain't going to get in.
Mm.
And John F. Kennedy already had a reputation of being a womanizer. So for the next 6 months, I was going all over the world, just dropping envelopes as a messenger for Costello. Because Costello and Mylance already had the syndicate. Between the Culinary Union and International Teamsters and every brotherhood you want to talk about, That's how he got in.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Kennedy, as part of American history, promised that as soon as his son got in, they would bomb Cuba and give all the casinos back. That's what the mob did it for, because Fidel Castro threw them out. The mistake Joe made, not even John had nothing to do with it. Joe wanted Bobby Kennedy to be Attorney General. Joe didn't realize his son was a mama's boy and a righteous idiot, and he went after everybody that got his brother in.
Okay.
Now 2 years have gone by. 2 years. They did nothing but harass everybody that got him in. So now I get flown by Costello, because I always represented him. He would never go after Appalachia. He went to no more meetings, and he was getting old anyway. So he said, I want you to be my eyes and ears, go to this meeting. And I did it 100 times. I just report what I saw. I get to Calneva. I don't know how many people who knew what Calneva is. Calneva was a casino built on the California and Nevada border, and it was owned by the mob, primarily Chicago. But you could drive to California and walk into the casino. You're right on the border. See, the law, most people don't know, the law, if you're a felon, even in Nevada today, if you're a felon, you have 24 hours to report you're in the city. You'll just get locked up. Because gaming is recognized by the citizens of Nevada. It's not legalized. It can't be.
Right.
It would be unconstitutional. Every city has to vote it in. Well, now they all have it. But during that time, so I go there, and who's there? Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, Sam Giancana. And Sam Giancana, even the pictures I own today, I got them from him. I got them from his daughter. He died. But what this all has to do with the Kennedy election. So we're all poolside and all that. And there was nothing to tell anybody anything yet. Till the end of the day, Sinatra told Marilyn Monroe why she was there. He said, listen, you got to do us a favor. And she'd do anything for these guys. She knew them forever. They wired her room with cameras like they did J. Edgar Hoover. I don't know if did you hear what they did to J. Edgar Hoover? Most people don't know this. J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser.
What?
Yes.
That's out there? That's known?
Nobody ever realized it until later. Chicago had a party, and they got him there, and he's dressed as a woman. They got all the pictures. That's why J. Edgar Hoover always denounced, there's no mafia. That's bull. Until Bobby got in. When Bobby got in, then he created the RICO Act. It was there forever, and he started using it, and Hoffa couldn't say anything at that. I mean, Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover. But he was a cross-dresser. So now they wanted Marilyn to sleep with Bobby, because when John became president, he said, Marilyn, I can't be with you right now for 2 years. Give me 2 years. Because, I'm a Catholic and married to Jackie. After that, I'll divorce her and marry you. That's how naive she was. So we don't know what was going on with her and Bobby. And she starts screaming at Sinatra. I'm going to the press with this. I want nothing to do with these Kennedys. They're all, so they knew. So I come back. I used to meet him at the Waldorf at 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, what went on there? I told him. He said, they're going to kill her. This was the last weekend in July in 1962. Another part of history. That morning, on Monday morning, he told me they're going to kill her. August 4th, the headlines, Marilyn Monroe was dead.
Get out of here.
Can't make this stuff up. That's why my book is such a bestseller. People can't believe it.
I mean,
it's all in my book.
I'm still hanging on to the Hoover cross-dresser shit, let alone the Marilyn Monroe reasons for her death.
Hello.
And we haven't even gotten to the Kennedy assassination.
And I often wonder, because when she went to her room that day, it was like 7 o'clock.
She's out of control. Okay.
She called Joe DiMaggio, because that was her ex-husband. He was in San Francisco. She said, come and get me. And she was really upset. He made the mistake of call and asked for Sinatra. And Sinatra said, mind your own business. I often wonder, what if he came and got her? Because I loved her. I mean, I was, she took my virginity when I was 16.
Well, you slept with Marilyn Monroe?
For years.
Oh, my God.
No, that's another story.
I don't even know where to go. I was like, there's so many directions I want to go with this, but please continue on.
No, but it's crazy. But anyway.
We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah. Oh, you could talk about it on camera, but it don't mean nothing. No, wait, what happened? I got caught as a truant officer. I was a messenger for Costello. One of my places was Jack Dempsey's. They were, the bartenders were lending money, taking numbers, whatever they were doing. I was Dad Dempsey's 3 or 4 times a day, picking up envelopes, dropping off envelopes, and on my way to Toots Shore. So one day I come out of Dempsey's, a guy stops me on the sidewalk. He says, "How old are you?" I said, "Who the hell are you?" He was in a brown uniform. You look like a dog catcher. He says, "I'm the truant officer." I said, "Oh, great." He said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15 and a half. He said, "How come you're not in school?" I said, "School?" I started laughing. I had like 5,000 in my pocket. I'm wearing a Brioni suit. He wants to know why I'm not in school. So he writes me the ticket. So I get the ticket. I walk to Toots Shore. Now, Toots Shore, for most people don't know, that was the place to be late afternoon. That's when Jackie Gleason was doing The Honeymooners from here. All those shows out of here, CBS Studios, which is now Colbert and Letterman, all that. They owned that all that while. But at that bar in the afternoon, everybody, if they were in the city, they were at that bar. So I used to go there all the time. I didn't get the joke when I walked in because Costello sees the ticket. He takes it, "What's this?" He says, "This is a truant officer ticket." He says, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15 and a half. He said, "How long are you working for me?" I said, "About 2 or 3 years. He said, "I'll take care of it." He put it in his pocket. But everybody started laughing. He said, "How'd you get the sticker?" "Were you walking too fast?" But, I let it go. But how I got to meet Marilyn? He said the next day I saw him, he said, "I straightened that ticket out for you." On top of Dempsey's is Wilford Academy, a beauty school. So I'm no fanoke. I don't want to go to that school. He's just sign in and leave. So I go there. I mean, you won't believe this. I go there at 9 o'clock. He told me. I signed in. The teacher said, "Great. Just sign, you can leave." I look over his shoulder. There's 20, 30 little girls going to school there. Where are you going to find 20, 30 girls any morning in New York City? I used to stay there for 2 hours till I had to go meet him. But thank God I did, because Mark Sinclair and Kenneth was already working for Lily Daché, and she was Marilyn's hairdresser. And even Jackie, Senator John F. Kennedy's wife's hairdresser. So they're there for shampoo boys, these two fanokes.
Okay.
And I was dressed nice, right? So they picked me right away. And the teacher said, if they pick you, it counts as you coming to school. Plus you can make tips.
Counts as coming to school.
Because you're in training.
Okay, yeah, fair.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't care. So I got there, and these guys let me do anything I want. I said, I can only work from 8 to 11. I can go back later. They didn't. They were going to try to forget about it. They would have had another Harold Gardner. Forget about it. I'll put a broom through them. But the fourth head of hair was Marilyn Monroe. And it's not like salons with the sinks all lined up. These were rooms, because these women took off their clothes. They put a robe on. So I go in there with the card. I read the card, the shampoo she wanted this, or the temperature. They taught me how to run the water, put it on her wrist. She approved it. And I'm looking at Marilyn Monroe.
And she was Marilyn Monroe at this point.
Not only was she Marilyn Monroe, my routine, when Costello left every night, he'd leave the Copa, go home. If he was having dinner, he was home by 11 o'clock at night. That's who the guy was. So I would go St. Patrick's Cathedral, because I made a novena to St. Anthony. If I got out of there, I did my novena at I used to sleep in the pew. 112 is right next to, you go in St. Patrick's today, go to the right past the gift shop is the shrine for St. Anthony. The pew, 112, because I related to my birthday, I used to sleep there because the church was open 24 hours a day. Then as I got older, I started going to New York Paramount because they were showing movies all night long. I saw Some Like It Hot maybe 10 times. And I should have caught on because when I got there at night, it was like 2, 3 in the morning, I'd go get popcorn. I love popcorn. And the girls, every time they gave me the popcorn, they never took the money. I was a cute little kid. Every night they kept giving me more napkins. And I'm saying, what the hell's going on? They realized I was masturbating in the balcony. Did you ever see this girl sing I Want to Make Love to You in that movie? She had a sheer dress on. What am I going to do? Forget, nobody was in the theater anyway.
They just gave you napkins instead of saying, hey, cut it out. Here, take some napkins, get on with it.
But now I got her there in the shampoo basin.
Mm-hmm.
It's Marilyn Monroe. I start massaging her hair. She starts moaning. Again, I'm 15 and a half. My 3-piece set's on her shoulder. I get an erection. I must have been poking her in the ear. She started requesting me every day. She'd go there every other day and always give me a check for $10, $25. I saved those checks. You know what they were today?
I got no.
With our name on them?
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, you got to keep that in a safe.
Hello.
Wait, so at this time, how many years later did she die? Marilyn.
She died in 1962.
And this was what year we talking at that point?
That had to be what? Mid-50s, late 50s.
So then what was so once you knew the backstory as to why she was, why she actually was killed, what did that do to you? Like, how was your process?
Oh, my God, it was another. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got the right guy talking about death.
Yeah.
When you count the kids in the hospital, I'm almost like 3,000 deaths around me.
Yeah, so you numb to it when it's a personal death?
Well, you know what happened to me, and thank God to Costello, I actually wanted to become an assassin. That meant nothing to me. I used to put 2 guns on and go to Corona. Because I used to follow Latin bands. I love Latin music. I love to dance. It was an exercise to me. So I would follow Pacheco, a little Playa Sextet, the Tito Puente. And I used to go by myself. Now, these kids in the neighborhood, I didn't even know these kids. I never hung out with anybody. These macho guys from the neighborhood, they never danced. The girls danced and they stood on the side. So I'd go dance with all the girls. Mm-hmm. So now I got a problem with these guys. And I used to say, and I didn't give it, I really didn't care. Because they didn't know I'm carrying. And at that time, there were zip guns. No traceable. You make them out of air antennas.
You're good.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys would start, I said, don't touch me again. Oh, yeah, what are you going to do? I said, you don't even want to know. And I'd take a zip gun, put it in his mouth, and there's 10 guys there. I said, I'll kill you right here. Who do you think I give a shit who you are? But that went on for a while. But I got shot in Corona. I thought I was going to die. I crawled into a sewer. They shot me in the ass and my leg. I go into the storm sewer because they're chasing me. I'm hanging on to the ladder. And as I'm hanging on the ladder, the rats are coming because my blood is dripping. And I'm saying, wait, if I go down there, they're going to eat me. I get up there, they're going to shoot me.
What dimension is your life?
I know.
It's just like, what
I'm saying, happening? What is this challenge?
Oh, my God. I play men's softball 3 times a week, and you're telling me this rat with Marilyn Monroe? What the hell is going on here?
No, it's crazy.
Okay, so
that's why the story is so unbelievable. I hear a lot. We all watch this, watch that, and people tell, oh, this guy just badmouthed this. I understand it. Mm. Who's talking about me? A killer who now came out and he thinks he's somebody. A guy who says his father's somebody. He ain't even his father. I didn't want to mention their names. I want to give them the credit. They got to hate me. Mm-hmm. They have boring lives.
I tell you, your life is far from boring. But I do want to transition back in regards to, okay, so now Marilyn's gone. But then, obviously, there's the Mafia ties with JFK, and they weren't pulling through with what they thought they were going to do. Right. So in regards to the JFK assassination, which I've heard a million times, but I'm just curious, strictly Mafia related, was there any other coordination from your understanding with governmental ties?
I'm going to tell you who was actually everybody involved.
Yeah, let's go with that. That sounds exciting.
There was 5 Mafia groups. They all had their own shooters. That's how I met Lee Harvey Oswald.
When?
With Carl Marsalis.
Okay.
Because they had to give the okay. Again, to get JFK into office, I had to visit all these people a lot.
Yes, you're kind of lobbying a little.
I was just bringing envelopes. They all knew me because of Costello. And then I was doing that again 2 years later to the same guys because they're going to whack. I took an envelope to Hyannisport. As I was leaving the driveway, I'm hearing screaming in the house. Then I realized what was in the envelope. I brought an envelope to Joe Kennedy, and they said, we're going to start killing off your kids. That's when he got the stroke. He was in a wheelchair.
It was a real stroke with quotes?
Joe Kennedy got a stroke.
Okay.
He didn't even know his kids were dead.
Oh, man.
He was oblivious to it all. I mean, I'm right. I have another book coming out, Mafia Secrets on Kensington. It comes out 2025. And they gave me a 4-book deal. I said, I want a book every 2 years. I don't want a book every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the book business. Let them stay out there. Like my book right now, Hollywood Godfather, My Life in the Movie Tomorrow. If you go on Amazon right now, it's got 5-star reviews. It's out 6 years. It's still selling.
Yeah, I mean, these stories, especially these mafia type stories, these are evergreen. People always find that fascinating, whether you agree with it or not. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, not forgetting all about. It's it.
Yeah, my mother, I love Sopranos. Is one of my favorite shows of all time, and she's like, she grew up in Brooklyn. She was never, we didn't have too many. We were like mafia. She saw the life happening. She was born, a little younger than you, 57. So she's the Sopranos. She's like, she doesn't like the way it portrays Italians.
A joke.
Yeah.
He sent me the script.
The Sopranos? For Sopranos, you're talking about?
Yeah, The Sopranos. They sent me the script long ago. And they couldn't get that made,
Mm.
And I already had a career now because, most people don't know I did 200 hours of television, 46 more movies, 9 Oscars more. Not mine. The movies made them. Seabiscuit, Family Man, all those movies. I put up money. I realized how easy this is. But Mafia, Cagney, Bogart, that was their charm, being a gangster. People love gangsters.
That's the crazy part. Isn't it so interesting how true crime's really popular now, so it kind of correlates with the idea how the mafia in movies is glorified. You know what I mean? But it's a violent, fucked up life.
It's sexy.
Yeah, it's sexy. A lot of people aren't into it, but at the same time, it's the mafia stuff. Goodfellas, one of my favorite movies. It's so interesting that the mafia, like that life, is glorified. You know what I mean? When it's so violent.
Well, now it's totally violent. Now, everybody's in it.
Yeah.
Albanians, Russians, everybody's in it.
Yeah, that's always exists. It's always been the Italian mafia. That's been the glorified aspect of it, but there's mafias in every part of the world. But I want to go back to the where you were going with the JFK thing. You said the 5 families were all tied. So they
wanted their own shooters.
They all had a common interest. They all had to come and make sure the job was done.
Yep.
So that's like the one time where all 5 families had like the similar mission?
It's not 5 families. It's 5. No, it was
5 mafia, different mafias.
Hello.
Okay.
Chicago is not. Chicago is the most organized. Forget the 5 families in New York. They're all Italians are always jealous of each other. I don't care what you're doing. You could be a house painter. He stinks.
Yeah,
we never stuck together. Mm. No, they wanted their own shooters because they got nothing for what they did.
Oh, that should have been muted. Surprise. It might be, is anyone I should worry about?
No, Johnny Roselli, who I got to be friends with, was Chicago's guy. I met Lee Harvey Oswald with Marcello's.
And you knew Lee Harvey was going to be one of the guys at this point?
I found out later.
Right.
I was on a ship on November 22nd when I came back from my last trip from all these people, and I had to deliver the answer. I was in Chicago again. I was in Detroit, New Orleans. I met anybody. They all knew me as the kid. I was already friends with them for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm coming back to get the message. And when they didn't want to write it down or nothing, they used to go like this when you walked in. So I went over and they tell me in my ear. I went to 5 states. The same message. It's on. Get on a plane. The last one I was with Marcello's. I was ready to sit down and have a dish of pasta vongole bianco. Moscow's had the best. He said, no, you got to go see that guy. I flew back. I go into the curtain at Peacock Alley like I did 100 times. It goes like this to me. Just give me the message. I gave him every message. It's on. I felt like an idiot. It's on. It's on.
Not knowing what it even meant.
No. What it meant, November 22nd, it's on.
Right.
He reaches under the table. Next to him, he gives me a manila envelope. He says, "You're leaving on Thursday." I said, "Okay." I never questioned him. "You're going to be gone for a while. There's 15,000 in there. Go to Layton's, get some, that's where we were shopping at that time. Get 6 or 7 suits. You're going to leave on the Independence, the ship." Never asked him. He says, I asked him, I said, "How long should I be gone?" He said, "Don't worry. We'll let you know. In Barcelona, somebody's going to get off the ship. They'll be there with a sign." I got off the ship. You won't believe the sign said. "The Kid," because that's they used to call me.
Oh, my Lanta.
And I was so pissed because I never went back to the ship. I had all the clothes on there. So I said to the guy, pick him up. I said, "Vinny, you need the clothes. Come with me. Don't worry about it." I was there for 2 years.
2 years?
Because they were looking for me. Because they associated me. They were watching all these people. Who's this guy keeps coming and coming? Then the assassination. Forget about it. We were going under the Verrazano Bridge. I'll never forget it. And they said the president was shot, not dead. Then we went to bed. Then that morning we got up the ship newspaper. He was dead. Then they had a picture of Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby, who I knew because he worked for Costello in Dallas. He ran all the numbers and all that shit there. They told him, "If you kill Lee Harvey Oswald, you'll be a hero." So they got him into the cell to kill him. That was crazy.
So then, clearly, obviously, the Mafia was orchestrating it, but what was the association with CIA or the government? Like, did they just look the other
The
way?
CIA, let's go one by one. When John F. Kennedy got in, he fired the guy from the CIA.
Right.
They hated him.
Right.
So not only did they have the CIA as a backup, they had the Texas Rangers for Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon Baines Johnson brought him to the target.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
That guy was not leaving there that day.
It's wild to think that's 60. It's 60 years ago. So it's like
62.
Yes, it's crazy to think that was happening.
No, 63.
That was happening then. What the hell are they doing now?
Hello.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out where the hell to go from here. Have you ever heard? There's a book I read. I'm transitioning, but also the same topic. There's a book, I think it's Tom O'Neill. It's called the book Chaos. It's called Chaos, the 1960s, Charles Manson and JFK. And it mentions Jack Ruby because there was some association with bringing Jack Ruby in and MK Ultra. Ever heard of MK Ultra? You ever heard of it?
Yeah, but the bottom line with that, let's go a little further beyond it. Let's add Dorothy Kilgallen.
What's going on there?
They killed her later on. She interviewed Jack Ruby in jail. She was ready to write a book about all of this. Now, Dorothy Kilgallen, which is very interesting, years later, they found her. Mark Sinclair was her hairdresser and colorist. He used to go to her every day, do her hair, because she did the show called What's My Line.
Okay, yeah.
They found her dead, just like Marilyn Monroe. The same anesthesiologist that killed Marilyn Monroe. If I wanted to exhume Marilyn's body now, with all the new technology, she died of oxygen. You can't trace oxygen.
Okay, so this woman was killed because she was about to put it all out there?
She died the same way. They injected into the fallopian organ, the pubic hairs in your groin, men or women. You can never see the needle marks in pubic hair. They just kept pumping oxygen into it. They could create an aneurysm.
And is it true that Jack Ruby, when he was incarcerated, he went crazy? They said he went crazy. I thought that's something I read in this book because, the theory and the conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, has something with MK Ultra, which is a governmental program where there was mind control and all this stuff, which is a real document. MK Ultra, it existed. Google it. But apparently, Jack Ruby was visited by one of the guys that was involved with that, and he lost his mind. The theory was someone visited him and sent him off in that direction.
Well, no,
is any of that true?
Yeah, but what happened to Jack Ruby? They did the same thing to John Gotti. But with John Gotti, I mean, I don't know what this guy's problem was. But even in prison, he's spitting at the guards. You're there forever. Calling them, what your wife is doing right now? And all that kind of, he got an abscess in his tooth. They never called a dentist. Then they injected him with he thought was morphine. Cancer.
Oh, man.
When they want you, you're done.
You're done. There's nothing to do. That's why it's like if I...
That same Jack Ruby died that way. Hello?
Okay, so...
That's why he lost his mind.
So Mafia orchestrated it, and then the government was like, yeah, we all want the same thing to happen. How do they respond? How are they going to respond to that? I know you said it a million times, but like, do they even care at this point?
I mean, look where we are today. Where are they now? I wish we had some of this going on. I mean, this idiot we have in the White House. I saw the Kennedy Award show last night. He didn't know where he was. They had to tape all his introductions in the office, but nobody.
Of course. Yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
I know.
So, okay, so you've seen death, you've been involved in death, you've taken lives, and how does that all play in regards to, I want to transition to your personal experience of losing people in your life? I know you mentioned Marilyn, but like family, friends, is that not a totally different experience for you in regards to taking other people's lives or losing people that are outside of you?
You know what it is with me with that? Because again, I'm so callous to it.
Right.
Like I don't go to funerals. I don't go to wakes. I don't do any of that. Because to me, they're better off. I believe in the thereafter. So if you're a good person, you're going to go to heaven. Me, personally, I'd rather go to hell. All my friends are down there. What am I going to do up there?
So do you believe in hell?
I do. Of course I do.
What do you think heaven and hell? Do you believe in it in a biblical sense, or do you see it in a different way?
No, in the biblical sense. I do.
Yeah.
I pray every day. I didn't change anything. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, my life. It's just, like when I came today, you picked me up from Frank Costello's apartment.
Did I?
I
should have jumped in the car.
I got 12 rooms. My dining room sits 16. That's why I told you should have came there. We did that.
I know. Believe me, I wanted to. I just thought, I don't want to.
No, but it's better to have it. You're better off here. But I'm just saying, my house is like a museum. The artifacts this man left there. I mean, it's crazy.
I'm going to have to twist your arm and let me come there one time.
Anytime you want.
I'm going to bother you with that.
No, please, no.
Because it's, again, these stories, I'm going to have to, I come back east all the time. There's just so much more to cover, and there's so much more stories that I want to hear from you. But I'm happy you mentioned the afterlife thing, because I wasn't sure what you believed. I wasn't sure.
No. And I am a true Catholic man. This ain't decoration. There's not a piece of jewelry on me that doesn't have a meaning. I didn't go in the jewelry store and buy it.
And what does that mean to you with these beliefs and that Catholic beliefs, and also having been around that type of life that seems very anti?
Look I knew 3 popes.
Yeah.
I was a courier for the Vatican for 8 years, licensed out of Lloyd's of London. They couldn't stop me. You know how many times I got stopped at airports and take out the letter? I said, subpoena the Vatican. You can't.
Yeah, does that challenge your beliefs at all? So when we talk Christianity and Catholicism, and then you hear in the Vatican this, that, and the other, and the Pope.
That's business.
So it's just business.
That's business.
Do you see religion as more of a business as opposed to spirituality?
I always look at the business.
Yeah.
No, I did this. I mean, there are people. There's a guy called Patrick Bet-David. You ever hear of that guy?
Yes.
Okay. Guess what happens? While he was still living in Texas before he moved to Florida. My book came out, he read it, he wanted to interview me. He came with a camera crew from Texas. You can't make up these stories. So now he's editing the film. His father's still alive, living with him, right? His father he said, look at this guy. He's that guy. You know who that guy is? His father's telling him. He says, what do you mean? You know Gianni Russo? He's Patrick. If it wasn't for Gianni Russo, we wouldn't be in this country. He's, what are you talking about? Now, how could you make this up? His father said to him, he said, Patrick, when he took the Shah's money out of him in 84, he took our money with him. That's why we're here. Because I was known to move money. Because I moved it to the Vatican.
Yeah, what? That's still stuck in my head right now.
I took $84 million of the Shah's money to this country. Then he took it. That's why he was in Hawaii for a while. And we laundered the money to the Vatican.
Well, this is going to be like a part. We're going to have to do this again, whether I'm going to come into your place or you're coming back here, because or people just have to continue reading his books, the ones that are out and the ones that are coming. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest?
No, I'm just having a conversation with you.
I love
your topic. People don't address death normally.
No, and that's the thing. Okay, so a lot of these episodes, for anyone listening that's new, I'll make it short. Probably don't want to hear from me talking, but it's exposure to death, because death is the one reality of life. I've said this a million times. That is it.
It's the final ending.
Maybe it's the ending we think, right? It's, whatever happens after
on Earth. That's
at least in this body. You as Johnny and me as David. It's like, this is the only go I get is in this body. My belief is whatever happens after that, we'll see. But it's this the way of shying it away from. I want to explore all topics. These stories, I want to explore the grief, the spirituality, the religion. It's so fascinating to me. It's the one mystery and the one thing we have to believe in, and the way we're all going. And so to hear stories from this aspect of death, is fascinating to me and scary in many ways, because it's a life I've never lived.
You know what's interesting? I'm probably the only person. Ready for this? What I'm about to
I don't know if I'm ready, but let's do it.
I'm probably the only person has prepared myself for death. After being shot or whatever, I just laid quietly. I prayed and waited for him to come. Never came.
And I hope it's not for a very long time. So
it's over. Well,
but what is that? Is that just because you're just calloused from it?
I believe it.
Is it just calloused from it?
No, but I mean, it's reality.
Right. So it's accepted.
If you're laying with blood, you're laying with bleeding. If somebody don't come miraculous, I got shot 14 years ago.
14 years ago?
14 years ago in front of my house. Close range. It was a cold winter night. I put on a chinchilla full coat because DHL rang my bell, and they come anytime because I have boxes coming in all the time. And I had a sign for it because there was no doorman after that. So it was a normal thing to me. Somebody set me up. I go down, ring the bell. I had to open the divided door to sign it. Boom, 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 boom. 6 shots it took, close range. Thank God I was on 61st Street, because New York Presbyterian is on 67th. It's only 6 blocks away. They threw me in the back of a car and took me up there. And Ash Tiwari, the guy who created robotic surgery of your prostate cancer, removed every bullet without taking.
Why were they shot? What was the reason?
Well, I can't tell you that. But,
okay, yeah.
But whoever shot me is not around.
Do we have to take the back door out of here this way? I know we're on this.
No, that's what I'm saying. Most people don't know how to prepare for death, or don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. I think about it every day.
All I could say is that it's nice to go that way rather than, I don't want chemotherapy. I don't want none of that stuff. I already filled all those papers out.
I don't know how many more ways you'd even go. You feel like you've experienced it all already.
I know. I've been shot, run over, thrown out windows, stabbed. I was held captive 3 times.
Let alone you're in The Godfather.
The Godfather was nothing.
I know. That's what I was saying. That was just a movie. Mount on. Well, listen, man. I'm glad you're still here to even have an opportunity have the opportunity to speak to you. This was a blast. There's so much more conversations and stories clearly that you could spew off to me. I would love to stay in touch and maybe consider doing this again. I want to take you up on showing up to that museum that you live in right now.
Oh no, yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm dead ass about that. So I would love to bother you about that.
No.
Or you can tell me to fuck off the mic, whatever you want.
No.
But I'm
not that guy. I think you should. You know that.
I appreciate that.
We talked a couple of times.
Yeah. I'm
just a regular guy that got lucky.
Amen. Well, you're still here and still doing it. And you got your podcast, you got your books coming out. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience about you, or
so much coming? Anyway, you could see the Gianni Russo Experience, go see it. It's an 80-minute show, all film clips. Everything I talked about, I got clips now to prove it.
I'm going to have to check that out myself.
Yeah, please.
And as usual, I'll put it in the link of the show. Thank you so much, bro. This is fantastic. Thank you for showing up.
No, thank you.
The best city of New York. You're already here. I'm trying to get my ass back here, but Dead Talk crew, thank you for showing up. And until next time, thanks for being here. Ciao. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.